So I'm going to play the game, What Do I Know? And I know for geometric, g sub n equals g sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. Okay, that's what we learned yesterday. If I have the fourth term is 125, that means n is 4, so 4 minus 1 is 3, and I know g sub 4 is 125. All right, the bummer is I've got two unknowns. I also have that the 10th term is 125 over 64. So I'm going to use the explicit formula to write 125 over 64 equals g sub 1 times r to the n. Now, I'm doing a common ratio, what I'm multiplying by. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you kind of the longer way, the y, and then I'll show you a shorter way to do it. If I divide the terms, okay, if I divide the terms, 125 over 64 divided by 125, do you guys remember when you divide by a fraction is multiplied by the reciprocal? So that's 1 over 64 equals r to the 6th. The g sub 1's cancel. And then using my exponent rule, r to the 9 divided by r to the 3rd is r to the 6th. Now, it does say assume all the terms are positive, but what I want to mention is that r could have been, because it's an even exponent, could be positive or negative in general. So sometimes that's going to happen. So what's the 6th root of 1 over 64? Yeah.
2. Or 1 over
1 half. Yeah, 1 over 2. Okay, so now I know r, but I'm trying to find the 14th term. So I didn't leave enough space, but I think we have enough space below. So let's keep going here. And if I go back to my explicit formula, I'm going to pick, let's say this one, the fourth term. So g sub 4 is g sub 1 times, and it's 1 half to the 3rd power. Okay, if I'm doing g sub 4, and that's 125. I need g sub 1 in the explicit formula. So again, let me go back. This is my explicit formula. We found r. I know the fourth term. Now the only thing missing is g sub 1. I can multiply both sides by 8, and g sub 1 is 1,000. So it asked me in this part to find the explicit formula. So there it is. But I still haven't answered number 3. It says find the 14th term. Well, that's no big deal now. I have g sub 14 is 1,000 times 1 half, and that would be to the 13th power, because it's 14 minus 1. I left it as a fraction, and when I reduced, I got 125 over 1,024. So there's finally my 14th term. Number 4 said write the explicit and recursive formulas. So we have the explicit. Now the recursive, we'll write the first term, which we found is 1,000, and then to find the next term, we're multiplying by the common ratio of 1 half, where n is greater than or equal to 2, and n you can put as a natural number or an integer. Now I mentioned I was going to show you a shorter way to do this. Here's what you could think about in number 3. I would be looking at from the 4th to the 10th is 6 multipliers, right? So that's r to the 6th equals, and then you could put the 10th over the 4th. So it'll still give you the same thing, but that's way faster. Okay, that's way faster. But I want you to understand, why can I do that? It's because if you take the 10th divided by the 4th, that's what ends up happening. Your g sub 1's end up canceling, okay? So that's kind of, do you see like how quickly I could get there with this? So we can remember that. Otherwise, you go back to what you know. All right, any questions on 3 or 4? All right, on the next slide, I want you to try both of these. They're not connected like 3 and 4 were. 5 says, write a recursive formula for the geometric sequence with the first 2 terms 2 and 9. So remember what I mentioned yesterday. You got to pay attention to, is it arithmetic, geometric? Are they asking me explicit or recursive? Number 6 is write the recursive formula for the arithmetic sequence with the first 2 terms 5 and negative 10. Then state the value of the 9th term. All right, so try 5 and 6. Do as much of it as you can, then I'll help you out. All right, number 5. Yeah. Okay. Number 5, it asked me to write recursive, so I need to know that's the initial and the next term. Geometric means I have a common ratio. So I need to find the common ratio. You take g sub 2 divided by g sub 1. So the common ratio is 9/2. So this is recursive. So I know the first term. And g sub n is, you take r times the previous term, where n is greater than or equal to 2, and n is an integer. All right, questions on number 5? Recursive, you need the first term, and what do you do to the previous one to get the next one? All right, number 6. recursive arithmetic. Okay, so now I'm like, I have a common difference. How do you find the common difference? You're going from 5 to negative 10. That's going down. Oops, kidding. Just kidding. That's not down 10. That's going down 15, right? So, recursive, I state the first term. And then what are you doing to the previous term? You're subtracting 15. So, this is n greater than or equal to 2. N is an integer. Then it said find the value of the 9th term. Well, if I just keep I can keep subtracting 15, or you could go to an explicit formula and figure it out. What'd you guys get? Anybody get it? Yeah, Lillian?
I got negative 115.
Yep, that's what I got. Negative 115. Okay, if I want to do explicit, that's a sub n equals a sub 1 plus d times n minus 1. I know the first term and d, and then you plug in 9 for n. Yeah, d is negative 15. A sub 1 is 5. All right, other questions? All right, on the next page, let me make sure I go over the instructions clearly. It says you're going to determine if the sequences below, you're going to do both slides here, are arithmetic, geometric, or neither. So go through and write arithmetic, geometric, neither. On the arithmetic, and only on the arithmetic, I want you to find the explicit and recursive formula. Then state the 7th and 10th term. So you're only doing that on the arithmetic, not on the geometric or the neithers. And I'll give you a gigantic hint. There's only one arithmetic, so you're only doing this one time. So again, go through first A through G. Okay, go A through G and write arithmetic, geometric, or neither. Then go back through on the 1, and there's only one, arithmetic. Find the explicit and recursive formulas. Then find the 7th and 100th term of that arithmetic sequence. Alright, which one did you guys get as arithmetic?
B.
B. Okay. So letter A, which one was this? Geometric. Alright, let's go ahead and do the explicit and recursive. You could do either formula. You can do your A sub n equals A sub 1 plus D times n minus 1, or you can use the other one with A sub 0 plus n times D. Either way is fine. So I got 1/2 plus, what was the common difference? Negative 1/2. So this ends up being negative 1/2, then that's n plus 1. The recursive, you give the first term, and then the previous one, you're subtracting 1/2. N is an integer greater than or equal to 2. Alright, how about letter C? What type was this one? Geometric. How about D? Neither. Okay, D is neither. It is the cubes, like n cubed, but that's not geometric. How about E? What's the common difference if you think E is arithmetic? What did you add to every single one? It's neither. Yeah, I don't have a common difference there. So it's actually neither. Alright, how about F? Geometric and G. Neither. Alright, flip the page. Last part. Okay, on the last page, I flipped from arithmetic to geometric, geometric to arithmetic. I want you to put a circle around letter C. Letter C is like this one, okay? The first one we did today. So put a circle around letter C, and I want you to go back to this one in number 3 to help yourself. I'll certainly work it out, but just to give you some guidance where to look. All right, let me give you a few minutes, and I want you to do A, B, C, D. Do as many of them as you can, as much of a part as you can. You are allowed to talk to each other. Okay, you can say, hey, how'd you do this? Or I'm stuck here. So the homework will just finish that worksheet. Okay? And I'm recording this, so if you need to listen to the rest, you can. Do you need to take this with you? Thank you. Have a good weekend. Oh, no. I do. Is your name on the back of it? Yes.
Actually, no, you're right.
And so that's this.
Yes.
So then I got that.
Yes.
Because they already gave you R.
Yeah.
This is R.
You just plug in R for ratio.
So it gives you R.
Wait, B is geometric, A is arithmetic.
Yeah.
But
The A and B are not connected.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I just wanted out of the right there.
But so you're using arithmetic in B.
No, I don't do it. No.
It's G sub n equals G sub 1 times R to the n minus
It's
1.
not 60 on the left side. It's just okay.
Yeah.
Basically the 60 is.
R n minus 1 power.
So then you just use the 60.
It's not discrete, that's the exponent. Look back at some of the other examples we just did for some guidance on that one.
can I charge my phone?
Sure. Your name's on the back.
Sure.
Yeah, charge my
Sure. Your name's on it.
No.
Yeah.
You'd be here to someone.
Yeah, there's a teacher.
It's time. It's time. So big time.
Yes, it's that video. Yes. Yes, the layout. Yeah. Alright, guys, I'm gonna do A and B, then I'll pause again for C and D. In letter A, this is arithmetic, so the A's are arithmetic. So if I want A sub 60, that's 8 plus 6 times 59. Most of you got this one, 362. In letter B, this is geometric. That's why I changed the letters. So if I want G sub 12, that's 4 times negative 2 to the 11th. And I got negative 8,192. Be careful on your graphing calculators to put a parenthesis around that. It is important. All right, I'm going to pause. Keep working on C. Before you ask me to help you, I want you to look back at that example 3 and see if you can figure it out. Okay, I want you to really try and use those notes. Then I will work it out.
I was just specifying like D in that, so that's just not.
You're right. All you did. Okay. So the subscript, the term, like this is the 6th term. That's like the X value.
Yeah.
So if you think about D is like slope.
Oh,
the
right.
Y switch up. Yes.
Okay,
The
so
Y
I still
switch
work
up.
with
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright,
Yeah.
yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Good job.
So I've got R. Is it 324 or so? No, what?
No. So like Jacob, what are you working on? Alright, what are you working on that? You can see where's my. Oh, okay, you need me to put the part back. There you go. Okay.
And then to find the first
Yes.
term.
The G's are geometric and the A's were arithmetic. Yeah.
Because how you can't do R and oh.
You're off just a little bit.
So,
For those of you that have C, just to like kind of make yourself feel better, I got 8,748. I'll work it out, but
you do.
you got it, Johnny? Can I move?
Yeah, maybe that one.
You have to get hard, like, first time.
Okay,
Okay, then yeah. So I found R, you know, that you would like divide the second term by
I think
3
R
and
too.
then go backwards. Because you know, like, you do 3 as the second one.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and start letter C. 324 divided by 12, that was 3 common ratios, so that's R cubed. So R cubed is 27, so R is 3. Now, I like to play the what do I know game, and I've got G sub 2, and then this would be 3 to the 2 minus 1. So that's 12 equals G sub 1 times 3, so G sub 1 is 4. Now I can find G sub 8, the first term times 3 to the 7th, and that's where I got 8,748. Now I know some of you have not gotten all the way to D, but then just do it with me now. This is arithmetic, and if you remember from yesterday, A sub 6 equals negative 48. Arithmetic are linear. It has a common difference. The common difference represents slope. So then this is the 30th term is 120. So my common difference is going to be 120 minus negative 48 over 30 minus 6. When I worked that out, I got 7. And you're going to find, I know yesterday we talked about the 2 different explicit formulas. You need both of them. It's not like you can do the one and say, oh, I'm never going to use the other one. Well, I guess you could always use this one, but the one with the A sub 0, you might find yourself stumped sometimes. So if I use A sub 6, I don't know the first term. I've got the common difference, and that would be times 5. That's negative 48 equals A sub 1 plus 35. So I got A sub 1 is negative 83. And then now I can find A sub 150, or the 150th term. Anybody have it? Yeah, any?
974.
I didn't get 974.
Oh, well.
No, I got 960, yeah. I got 960.